Brassica carinata, or Ethiopian mustard, is a new crop this year in Western Canada, although someone like Trevor Anderson here has grown it for a couple of years as a seed crop or experimental crop. So he is our expert in Canada with 3 years. He probably still feels like a rookie, but certainly we've been traveling across Montana and southern Saskatchewan and Alberta for a few weeks now looking at this new crop. So what is it? I mean, the signs briefly explain over there the reasons for looking at carinata from an agronomic point of view, which are its ability to withstand heat and drought stress, its unique disease resistance profiles, its large seed size, etc. But of course, first and foremost, what's the market so that it's worth doing this? And the market that's been developing for this crop is the biofuel space. Agrisoma is a seed and biotechnology company, Canada's oldest, and they've been working in improving crop types using their platform technology for 10 years. And now they're bringing forward the first material developed by Ag Canada in partnership with them to launch this new class of bio feedstock crop. And so it's adapted to the hotter, drier areas across Canada and the northern US. It certainly seems to do well. It has a totally different plant structure than we're used to with mustard or with canola. And for that reason, it has that drought tolerance and the heat tolerance that we like to see. If you want to take a closer look at the crop, please come on up and take a look at it. This is the herbicide trial here, but you see the very different plant structure, the very large seed size, and its unique ability to branch and fill in spaces. This is AAC A100, the first commercial variety. And the market it's going to is probably the biojet fuel market, although it fits well into any of the fuel markets, whether it's biodiesel or whatever. So there's 6,000 acres out with 38 different producers this year, and we put them spread out. It's all through Patterson Grain in a contracting program with Patterson. And so they would be collecting it. We hope to have the crop processed here in October, November into jet fuel. We just finished a bunch of test runs with the National Research Council jets out of Ottawa. And the test went very well. The emissions from the flight were significantly less in particulates, which we're pleased to see, and it marches on from here, and that several airlines like Air Canada and Porter have done some test flights using these biojet fuels, and certainly from here on we expect to see more testing at this feedstock that could be used widespread. And there's a reason for that, in that the airline industry is mandated to have a percentage of biojet fuel on board for landing into Europe here in the very near future. If they don't have it, then there's a penalty applied against that flight, which obviously gets passed through to the consumer ultimately. So there's a strong demand to move to biofuel, and biojet fuel is the sexiest of the topics, and certainly the most likely area that this year's crop of just a test market of 6,000 acres would move into. So Trevor can talk to you quickly about some other tours in the area around here this year and where the fields are. In fact, this afternoon, if anyone's interested, there are a couple of fields really close to here of 120 acres roughly, I think, that we can go see at the end of today if you wish as well. Hook up with Trevor and I, and we'll make sure you get along with us. There's a robust pipeline of new products coming. We have 25 new potential lines up on the hill. Not that they did real well up there like everything, but certainly they're tested at about 12 sites across North America, so we'll get a very good read on it. The crop's also performed well as a winter crop in Florida and some southern US states as well, because it does have pretty good frost tolerance to go with the heat and drought. Herbicides, I guess, is a big topic going back to the production of the crop, in that it's proven to be unique so far, and that it can handle some really low rates of some different products. What you see here is a test with edge and sulfentrazone as possible herbicides to be used on the crop. Right now, you see on the board here the listing of the few products, Muster, Assure, Helix, that have been minor uses submitted. And of course, Bayer's Prosper was used on the crop this year as a seed treatment. I guess the other thing to mention is there are 2 new varieties in the pipeline right now. One 880 that'll be coming out again next year, which improves yield about 10-15%, and oil content, and another one after that that looks equally exciting in the set of 25 up there. And we hope more people continue to take a shot at trying this new crop. We will have hybrids in a few years because we have a working hybrid system now, and that's exciting in itself too. And we've also got one of the world's largest collection of materials in this species, as well as two significant breeding nurseries now, one in Saskatoon and one at Swift Current. So from there, if you want to ask specific questions, we'll gladly jump into answer them the best we can with the limited experience we've got with this new crop. We want to be careful rolling it out as we grow the crop, and that's why it was limited to 6,000 acres this year, and it certainly will be limited again next year as we try to match the production to the refining process, and that's the bottleneck right now. The refining process to make jet fuel is quite limited with plants only under construction at the moment in the US. So we have to keep our crop production fit to that production or processing capability. Any questions?
Generally the same disease spectrum as canola or mustard crop?
It has the best of all the brassicas for blackleg and multiple genes for that. So I know as an ex-Napus breeder and mustard breeder, as you know well, because we work together, that we try to exploit these genes and move them out of this crop into the other crops we have over the years because of that. Now, the other unique thing is in our tests in Florida, we found out that some of our advanced lines were completely immune, it seemed, in the Florida conditions in winter under 50 inches of rain to sclerotinia. And so there was really optimism there when we found that they segregated so cleanly for resistant and susceptible types. So that's an exciting new part to our breeding program to make sure that a lot of our new materials coming forward have that really strong resistance to sclerotinia in them. But other than that, on the insect front, it's very similar to the other brassicas. Diseases relatively similar with that exception.
How drought tolerant is it? I mean, what kind of crops or yields can we expect off of all that rain?
Well, we'll learn a lot more this year. I don't know, Trevor, if you want to comment on what we just went through the last few days. Your area is one of the droughtiest this year.
Just my experience last year, that's all I can talk about. I can only talk to my experience from last year. The first year, which was 2 years ago, we hailed out and it came back from that. So it was really hard to measure there. But last year, and this was an exceptional year too. We didn't get into the field till the middle of June because of all the snow. So we're comparing on my farm brown mustard to the Carinata, seeded around the 20th of June, which is, that's not a normal situation either. Last year probably 25 to 30% higher than my brown mustard, but again, how do we use a year like that because of the late seeding dates? This year we are going to have a good test at home. Everything we're dry enough down there that a lot of guys are finished their peas and their lentils, taking them off already. We've dried out in the last 2 months. So when we get that information this fall from the 38 guys in Western Canada that grew it, we are going to have those results posted, and it will probably be individual results posted. If you want a list of those in the fall by email, we'll take your email addresses and get those to you, and you can look for your area basically, and most of them, not most, but probably half of them will have comparison yields to canola or other mustards on those farms or right in that area too. So and just while I've got this here, tomorrow afternoon up at Hilda we have a tour on the Kirshenman farm that Andy put in a quarter section this past year, and if anyone is up in that area or wants to go up there tomorrow at that time, they can talk to me about that, and we can get the time exactly when we're going to be. We're going to be in Fox Valley in the morning, and then over to Hilda in the afternoon, and then up to Oyen, where we have some more stuff the next day at the Cara sites. So,
any other questions for either of us?
Actually, I can make a comment on some of the drought tolerance.
This spring I seeded 160 acres and it was very, very wet. In fact, it didn't really grow very well in it. Now at home at Shaunavon, where it's getting into drought-like conditions, that's all grown back now. So the drier it gets, the more it's growing. It's going to make some uneven harvest conditions maybe because it's still flowering and some of it's already changing, but but it likes the hot and the dry.
We've had 38 growers, thanks Dave, 38 growers this year, and there isn't a single one that is identical to any of the others in the conditions they've had and the way it's been treated. You know, it's going to be a real picture come fall when we get our results. Thanks, Dave.
Anything else? Well, like we've said, then if you have more interest, we have some growers manuals with us. And we also have the next couple days of tours that you're welcome to attend too. So thank you for your interest. If you just want to walk by here as you move to the next station, you'll just notice the different rates of authority used with Edge as one of the potential new herbicides that we could be talking about next year. At this site, there definitely is a little bit of damage in a height reduction at least.